So I mentioned that the key factor in risk-taking in adolescence seems to be social influence. There's something about being with friends that make adolescents more susceptible to taking risks. And that was shown really nicely in an experiment that was carried out by Larry Steinberg and their colleagues a few years ago, where they asked participants to carry out this driving video game where you drive around a circuit as quickly as possible, and he measures the number of risks you take. And he studied various different age groups, and what you can see here is the number of risks taken by adolescents. These are age 13 to 16 here in this leftmost bar, young adults aged 17 to 24, and adults aged 25 and over. And what you can see is actually when they're on their own, when they can focus on the task at hand, there's very little difference in the number of risks adolescents and adults take. So this stereotype that adolescents always take risks is just a stereotype. It's not always true. However, in a second condition, the researchers asked the participants to bring a couple of friends with them, and those friends just stood behind the participants as they carried out exactly the same driving task. And that resulted in 3 times the number of risks taken by the 13 to 16-year-olds and twice the number of risks taken by the 17 to 24-year-olds, and it had no effect on risk-taking in adults. So what this shows is that peer influence is the really critical factor in risk-taking. These kinds of data are very much borne out by real-life data from car insurance companies. So car insurance companies, as you may know, when you make a claim after an accident, you have to fill in a lot of information about the precise circumstances in which the accident took place. And that data is quantified and analysed. And what it shows is that young people under the age of 26 have more accidents than older people. That's why their premiums are higher. But also it shows that the precise circumstances in which young people are most likely to have accidents is when they have similar aged passengers in the car with them. And that's not the case for adults, for whom having a passenger in the car is protective. You're less likely to have an accident if you have a passenger if you're over the age of 26. And there are now policy implications. There are countries that have brought in legislation which doesn't allow young people to carry non-family related passengers in the car with them for a couple of years after they've passed their test, and car insurance companies are also doing the same kind of thing.